Okay, Grand Rising, everybody. Thank you all for tapping into another book review. We're reading E-Myth Enterprise by Michael E. Gerber, How to Turn a Great Idea into a Thriving Business. And I'm going to review chapter 3 for you. So during this whole book, the author was really showing how to create an E-Myth enterprise, not just a business, but a business that really touches the hearts of people, that gives them more than they actually pay for, and that solves a solution that's bigger than just profit making. That's why I love the E-Myth enterprise. It actually gives you some really great ideas about running your business. So in chapter 3, the author talks about the 4 categories of preference. Okay, so this is the sum total of the book, the 4 categories of preference. And this is what he says at the end, which summarizes the entire chapter. There are 4 categories of preference that every business must satisfy in the minds and hearts of each one of its primary influencers: your visual preferences, emotional preferences, functional preferences, financial preferences. They all make up what I call the E-Myth Enterprise Matrix. Each of these categories is accompanied by specific criteria that must be met if the enterprise is to be an E-Myth enterprise. Follow me on a journey that will make this significant for you. Okay, so I want you to hear what the author said. There are 4 primary influencers: your visual preferences. So the way that you present your business visually is very important. Okay, a lot of people don't even think about the visual preferences of their consumer. What are the colors and texts and things that you use? What do they represent? Now, if you even look at my community and my social media, from the text to the colors, they're all intentional. From the aquamarine to the green, to the different shades of green, they're all telling you something. They're all letting you know about the space that you're in, and they're all telling you about what I stand for. So you can tell that my brand is about peace and being in one with nature and love, right? So these different colors are not just random colors. You know, green is for the heart chakra, aquamarine has to do with peace and tranquility, right? So the way that you present your brand visually. Okay, so I used to, when I showed up to the Zoom meetings, you didn't just see my camera like this. First of all, you saw a nice high HD. It was way better, and you saw the logo. You saw there's a sound that was played in the rising. So you might have been like very interested as to, oh, what are these visual preferences that Ed is using and why, right? Maybe you weren't that curious, but there's a reason behind all of that. Is because I want you to have a distinction between the brand, the different parts of the brand. So there's a different color when it's Rising Prime. There's a different color when you're doing the Qigong class, right? There's a different color for different segments of the community. And you find those colors in the same flyers and they repeat over time. So there is a color coding to the visual preference. Now, we haven't gotten that to that chapter where we're going to go into the specific preferences. Chapter 3 did not talk all in about it. It showed it, right? It spoke about how the boy went in the room, went to buy a car from John Anderson. Okay, so let's see that. So the first essence, so let's go through it. So he went to go see the car, and then he saw that John had a 1947 Ford for sale. And then the first thing that thing said is, once you see it, you'll wonder why. Once you see it, you'll wonder why. Now, one of the things about him, John Anderson, selling the author the car was, it was the whole revelation process of the car. It's like, they said, what I'm about to show you today is going to change your life forever. And once I take the cover off, you're going to be amazed. And he's like, what? This is what you're about to show me? I can't wait. So he said, not only did he get a large amount of excitement, but the boy and his dad came out. So that means to tell you, you want the way that you put your business out visually to get people excited. It's like you walk into the Apple store and it's like, oh my goodness, the tech, Candyland. Okay, you walk into Starbucks, you're like, there's a visual preference and peace around this space. So all of that has a lot to do with it. Now, it turns out somebody says the logo of the Starbucks, the woman, is actually a version of a goddess of some sort. I don't remember exactly what. However, that seemed to be interesting. Visual preferences. Okay. So he didn't plan to go by. He just went to this man's house. He saw an ad, and then everything stood out. The way that this man presented himself. So he saw this guy who's named John Anderson, and he was wearing a khaki shirt, open at the collar, matching trousers. His there were stars, they were pressed with military crispiness. His brown shoes were gleaming. He smiled warmly, shook my hand, invited me in, introduced me to his wife, which was shelling peas at the kitchen table, then led me out to the garage where he told me he kept the car. I want you to read all the things this kid described that he saw as a kid. He did not he described the lifestyle of John Anderson. He said, man, this man was a slim, tall, nondescript man with neatly crop-blonde hair and bright blue, intelligent-looking eyes. He was in his early 40s. He looked younger. He was wearing a khaki shirt, open at the collar, matching trousers. He smiled warmly. His shoe gleamed. He shook my hand, invited me, and introduced me to his wife. And I saw the lifestyle he was living. So this man was not just like ready to buy a car. He's like, man, who is this guy in front of me? He was amazed by the character that was selling him. So as an entrepreneur, like, you have to become the sort of inspiring character just by the matter of you being, the way you present yourself. Like, he had his nice cripsy hat, and there was a sort of dominance about his green color and his beautiful smile and beard. Seems like I'm talking about myself, right? But the way you present yourself, when a customer walks into the door, what do they expect in their minds that they're gonna get just by meeting you? So visual preferences, this chapter shows you the visual preferences is not just the place that you walk into to buy, but it's the person that you see. Okay. So standing before us was the car. So now he opened the door, he went to the garage door, it was closed, and he almost like he's leading him on. He's like, I know what you're here for. Let me show you. So he's like, standing before us was the cart, completely enclosed in a tight-fitting canvas tarp. The sole subject in the garage. It sat frozen, although as though hovering in its place before me. It was a surprise package waiting to be opened, a mystery waiting to be revealed. It was as if John Henderson had brought me to his garage to reveal a secret he had been hiding there for who knows how long. So when you're delivering your product, it has to be almost like a secret. Like, yo, I've heard about this. Now let me find out for myself. So you're like, how does this apply to me if I'm a coach, a speaker, a healer? Look, I have a community. And when somebody walks into that community in this digital space, whether it's in the room in Zoom, whether it's on the application where all the content is housed, they're like, oh my goodness, this is what you've been talking this whole time? I can't wait to see it. And you have to have that process, that journey. Okay, so first of all, it's me, it's the person hosting it, how you present yourself, how they see me on a live video, how they see me wherever they see me. Then it's how the business is presented, the visual preferences. So there was some sort of like excitement. The person, they couldn't wait for that excitement. They couldn't wait. The kid couldn't wait to see it. So then he said, look how he said, he asked me, would you help me take this off? He asked as he moved in front of the car, touching the canvas tarp lightly in his hand. Think about it. You're about to show somebody a car they came to buy. And then you're not like, oh, here's the car. Here's all the specs. He's like, can you join me in the process of revealing what I have in store for you? That's a beautiful way of like, join me in the process of me showing you what I'm housing to sell you, because I'm just as excited as you are to get it. I'm just as excited as you are for me to give it. So the kid is like, yo, I can't believe he just said that. Just do exactly what I do, John Anderson said. He moved to the front of the car, motioned me in the side of the car, and he reached down and started to pull the tarp straight up above head. I did the same. Yet, as much as I wanted to follow his lead, I couldn't help but be distracted by what came into view. The car absolutely glistened. First came the chrome bumper, then the light gray fender, then the bright burnished red of the tail light. Each in turn glistened with a luster of its own. Wow. So as he's revealing the car, and he's like, yo, look at this vehicle I got here. Yo, that thing is shining. My man's is so excited. He's seen the dream car of his dream. He's like, yo, I can't, was he kidding? So now, wow. So now just the way that the whole scene was, it gave him a certain excitement. So he said, nothing could have been more to the point. Nothing could have touched me any deeper. And then Anderson said, let's go for a ride. So after you build up excitement, your customer can't wait to do business with you, to see what you got, because they're attracted to you and your business. After you created that excitement and you revealed the product, you say, let's test it out. So this is what I do in a test iron. I'm like, try a free trial. I promise you, if you spend 7 days around this community, your life is going to transform. Just 7 days. Try waking up every single day at 7 a.m. and try getting in this application where you're going to get all this content that's structured and organized for you to detox, to fast, do all these things. Like for 7 days, just try. And you do, and then now the kid is in the car and he's driving. This is when it becomes real. I could tell you about it, I could show it to you, but until you get the keys, you put the keys in the ignition, you rev it up, you start driving, you don't feel it. It's not the same, right? Until Marcus, you lay that person on that table and you say, let me put that razor on you, let me steam you up, let me foam you up, let me take care of you, Black King. Look, until that moment happens, they have heard about it. You've unveiled, you told them about it, but it's not until they sit down and they're like, wow, this is what I needed the whole time. I need that 7. Look, you are my barber forever. Barber forever. What kind of, like you now, you're like, I need to be in this forever. So listen to this. This is why I love these book reviews, because, I love when I do these book reviews because I be getting with something. He said, to John Anderson, his 1947 Ford Coupe was an idea. The sale of his 1947. Okay, let me restart from the beginning. I'm gonna try to read this. Okay, all right. I want to make sure you're getting the whole thing here. You know what I'm saying? All right, that's good. To John Anderson, the sale of his 1947 Ford Coupe was much more than a commercial transaction. And indeed, the car itself was much more than a car. Look, he wouldn't be that excited if he wasn't excited. If it was just a transaction for him, if it was just a car for him, he wouldn't be as excited. That's why I get so excited when I tell somebody about the tribe, the community, the Rising Prime, because it's not just I know how transformative it is. I've actually had a routine that transformed my life. That's why I do it. So it's like, that's been his car till he understands it. So to John Anderson, his 1947 Ford Coupe was an idea. To sell his 1947 Ford Coupe was therefore an extension of that idea. So he was extending an idea and he was selling it. It was like, yo, this is the ideas that transform something for me. How about I share it with you? And so John Anderson himself and I, without knowing it, my parents and John Anderson's wives, all of us were an extension of that idea. All of us influencers, all of us influence, all of us possessing preferences that needed to be satisfied, that would be satisfied for idea to become action, for idea to move into its future, to find itself joined with the world. Visual preferences, emotional preferences, functional preferences, and financial preferences. So your business is an idea, it's a concept, it is something that you envision and you want to share that vision, right? And you give it in the form of a product or service. Okay, so the idea held within it all the possibilities that would unfold. And because it met their preferences, the way that they saw it, the way that they felt about it, the functionality, that I'm sure that this won't break down with me, that, yo, this is for the price, it's worth it. This is the E-Myth Enterprise Matrix that causes people to want it, to lust after it, right? To need it. Okay. So what has to become and has remained in my mind and heart a successful business transaction for both Mr. John Anderson and me could never have happened. So not he instinctively yet unwittingly used the E-Myth Enterprise Matrix and his relationship with himself, my parents, his wife, and me. Okay, so buying the car here was way bigger than that. And when his parents showed up, they had about the same reaction. And it was like, yo, I'm ready to buy this for you, son. Because this man, they was impressed. Right. And guess what? They never even talked about money because it was such an experience for them that it was like, oh, wait, how much is it again? Oh, okay, here's my money. That was the final part of the deal. So, and guess what? He never asked him, do you want to buy the car? Once you present all of the components of this vehicle that can get the person to the point A to point B, you know, your stress is it's not even worried about, do you want to buy it or not? It's like, yo, you see the value, right? It's a no-brainer. Okay. So you want to make it so that you present your product in such a way where you don't even have an ask for the sale, but remember to ask for the sale. Okay. So this was chapter 3. And I want you to remember the process of which you sell or bring out your gift to the world. The visual way of presenting it, the emotional thing that's attached to it, the functional use of your product. How is it so effective and beneficial that people can use it in its own functionality? Okay. And then the financial preferences. Look, you want to give people so much with your product, service, or idea, I may say, that you give them so much of that they cannot ignore it. It's like, yo, you mean to tell me I get this, that, and that? I get this, and that, and you throw that in, and wait, there's more. Okay, so that's the benefit. So that's why I said, listen, sign up for a free 7-day trial to the Holistic Lifestyle Tribe. And guess what? You're going to get access to a seasonal detox that in itself is worth the whole value of that month. In fact, even if you got 7-day trial and just did the detox, you would have gotten all the value for free. Then you get Daily Rise and Prime, which is pretty much full of so much insight, over 300 different gatherings that you could tap in right from an app. Then get to local Qigong classes so you could build up your life force energy, release muscle tension and stuck emotions so you could transform your being, and have daily access to the live Rise and Prime gatherings on Zoom so you can be able to communicate one-on-one, back and forth, able to tap into the movement, put all of that together in a routine and get live, different day by day occurrences. And then wait, there's more. And there's a book club. You could go and read and listen to this book and all the other books and review the other books and grow through them step by step rather than just reading the chapter and going down. Hear other people's opinions, other people's knowledge, other people's experiences. And you get all of that underneath the tribe. Guess what? You don't need to pay the full price. 7 days free. I said, test the car. And then now you're like, you test the car. I said, listen, you're not just going to get to test the car. I'm going to give you the whole experience. First, when you walk in the room, you're going to meet me. We're going to have a conversation. So we're going to give you a welcome call. Not only are you going to get that, but every single week, there's office hours where you can pick a time, 15 minutes, come talk to me about mental, physical, emotional, business, and you'll be able to have almost like a coach right there. And not only we get that, throughout the day, you're going to get text messaging. You're going to get different posts, motivation, podcast episodes. Wait, there's more. And you're like, how much does all that cost? You said, free for 7 days, $59.99 every month. You're like, that's it? Take my money. Now it's a whole experience because I'm selling you an idea. I'm saying, listen, this is more than a community. If you do step 1, step 2, step 3, if you do many, if you move your body, if you get your mind, if you get a routine, if you change your habits, if you get around a community, if you have people to support you, if you support yourself some more, if you breathe, you meditate, you do Qigong, you do all of those things together, you're going to get to another level. This is the idea. And this idea sprouted from something that transformed my life, worked for me. So now I'm packaged up as a product. So the best business ideas come from a solution to your problem that you packaged up and organized and presented to the marketplace as a product or service. And that's an E-Myth enterprise. And make sure that the visual preferences, the emotional preferences, the functional and financial preferences of the person taking advantage of your solution is met. And that's chapter 3 review of the E-Myth enterprise, baby. So listen, if this was inspiring, educational, you got something from it, you're like, I'm going to take that and run with it, apply some of those things from chapter 3. I want you to go ahead and start reading chapter 4. Okay, so we're going to discuss chapter 4. Tomorrow is Friday. So really, I should try and we're going to discuss chapter 4 tomorrow. Reason why is we want to do 2 chapters a week, because we want to make sure we finish this book by the end of February so we can start another one in March. Okay, so read chapter 4 today. I'm going to read it on YouTube later on so you can listen to it on your own time. And then tomorrow, we're going to do chapter 4 review, and make sure, so go to the next module if you want to listen to it and review it. So chapter 4 is called the first category of preference, the visual ideal. So this is going to talk about the visual preferences. So if you're watching this on YouTube, go to the next video. You'll be able to listen to the chapter, and below that will be the review. Same thing if you're watching on the Holistic Book Club underneath the Mighty Networks app. So make sure you leave a comment below. Let me know, how was the review? What was your major takeaway? And what is this book doing for you so far? So make sure you leave a review down below, either on your YouTube video or in the Holistic Book Club underneath the Holistic Lifestyle Tribe on the Mighty Networks app. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for tapping into another Holistic Book Review, Chapter 3, the E-Myth Enterprise Matrix. Peace.